Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in. Today we're tackling 9, Biology, Unit 01, Lesson 03, Population Dynamics, and Human Population. We're going to explore the math behind how populations grow, and see how those models tie directly into the literal explosion of our own human species over the last few centuries.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with 1, population growth and dynamics, 2, the human population boom, 3, understanding global biodiversity, 4, major threats to biodiversity, 5, conserving our ecosystems, and 6, review and formative check.
Section 1, Population Growth and Dynamics. Let's build a foundation for how populations actually change in the wild.
Okay, so first things first, we absolutely have to understand the concept of carrying capacity. Basically, it's the maximum population size that a specific environment can sustain indefinitely. Think of it like a biological ceiling. Every environment has a limit to its resources, right? Food, water, space. If a population bursts right through that ceiling, well, those resources dry up and the population size naturally has to crash back down.
Now, looking at how populations actually reach that ceiling, we use two main mathematical models. First up is exponential growth. This is that steep, J-shaped curve you see on the left. It shows a population just skyrocketing at a constant, rapid rate. But here's the catch. That only happens with totally unlimited resources. And in the real world, resources are practically never unlimited. So that brings us to logistic growth. This is the more realistic S-shaped curve on the right, where that initial boom slows down and eventually levels off exactly as it hits that carrying capacity we just talked about.
Keep those curves in your head, because I want you to think about this fascinating quote. Ecologists have actually called humans the most successful weed species Earth has ever seen. It sounds a little wild, right? But like weeds, human populations are super fast-growing and disperse rapidly. We've managed to spread out and colonize completely different habitats from pole to pole.
Which brings us to Section 2, the human population boom. This is our main case study today.
Just look at this timeline. For thousands of years, our population barely crept up. The real game changer was about 10,000 years ago, when the agricultural revolution finally gave us a reliable food supply. But look at the modern era on the right side. It took all of human history up to the year 1800 to reach 1 billion people. Then, 123 years later, in 1930, we hit 2 billion. By 1999, the time it took to add another billion had just plummeted.
To really put that modern acceleration into perspective, look at this number, 24. While it took 123 years to add our second billion, between 1975 and 1999, it took only 24 years to add 2 billion more people. That is literally J-shaped exponential growth happening on a global scale, right in front of us.
And we can actually predict where we're heading next by looking at age structure pyramids. Check these out. Underdeveloped countries usually show this wide, pyramidal shape. That means there's a huge chunk of young individuals who will soon reach reproductive age, pointing to massive future growth. On the flip side, developed countries have this stable, sort of rounded or conical shape. Fewer young people means growth is slowing down, or sometimes even stopping completely.
So how did we pull this off? How did humans just keep climbing that J-curve without hitting a natural ceiling? Well, human intelligence basically allowed us to cheat the system. By inventing agriculture, domesticating animals, building advanced shelters, and developing modern medicine, we effectively dodged the density-dependent limits that enforce a carrying capacity on literally every other species out there.
But let's pause for a quick misconception check here. Since our population is growing exponentially, does that mean humans are reproducing at our full biotic potential? Like, are we currently maxing out our absolute biological limits for reproduction?
The answer is a hard no. To actually reach true biotic potential, every single human female would have to become pregnant basically every 9 months of her reproductive life, in a world with totally unlimited resources. Obviously, that's not happening. We're growing exponentially because we got really, really good at surviving and overcoming environmental limits, not because we're just having the maximum possible number of babies. All right, Section 3, Understanding Global Biodiversity. Let's see what our massive population boom means for the rest of the planet. So, what exactly is biodiversity? It's exactly what it sounds like. The immense, incredible variety of living things on Earth and the super intricate ways they all interact. It's the whole interconnected web of life that keeps our global ecosystems healthy and resilient. Moving right along to Section 4, Major Threats to Biodiversity.
Unfortunately, our J-shaped human boom is putting intense pressure on that exact web of life. There are four massive threats driven directly by human expansion. We've got habitat loss and destruction, the overharvesting of natural resources, the introduction of exotic and invasive species, and climate change. Every single one of these drastically messes with the carrying capacity of countless other species.
Now, dealing with these massive environmental threats is incredibly complex. It involves socio-political treaties on things like greenhouse gas emissions and highly varied national population policies. We have to impartially note here that how different nations choose to tackle climate change and population growth is a hotly debated topic globally. Some countries implement family planning to lower birth rates, while others actively try to increase their populations. We aren't here to take a side, we're just observing the demographic and ecological facts driving these major global conversations.
Section 5. Conserving our ecosystems.
Despite all those heavy challenges we just talked about, scientists are actively working to protect the planet. It's basically a two-step framework. Step 1 is to use conservation biology to protect the existing biodiversity we still have left. Step 2 is to apply restoration ecology to actively rebuild and recover ecosystems that we've already damaged. By using these tools, researchers are trying to safeguard the biological variety of our world.
And finally, Section 6, Review and Formative Check. Let's wrap things up and see what we remember. Time for a quick pop quiz from the beginning of our explainer. Which mathematical growth model is J-shaped and represents a population increasing rapidly under ideal unlimited resources? Take a second to visualize those curves.
Did you get it? It's exponential growth, which, as we analyze today, perfectly describes the human population's trajectory over the last couple of centuries.
To quickly recap our core takeaways today, populations grow via either exponential J-shaped models or logistic S-shaped models. We humans uniquely manage to bypass our density-dependent limits, triggering a huge exponential boom. But that boom puts enormous pressure on global biodiversity through things like habitat loss and climate change. Luckily, the fields of conservation biology and restoration ecology are on the front lines trying to mitigate that damage. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Since we know that absolutely no exponential growth can continue indefinitely, what do you think is Earth's true carrying capacity for human beings? And how do you think we'll eventually reach it? Thanks for joining this explainer today, and keep questioning the world around you.